Good day, soul friends. Michelle here with Rising Sun Oracle. Welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. It's always a joy to welcome you to the space. I thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, and subscription to the channel. I am here with a special read regarding Mercury in retrograde for the collective. I'm kind of in a little bit of a giddy mood because this is my fourth attempt at trying to record this video. Because the technology is not working for me, because I keep tripping on my words. So I'm having a little giggle here, and let's see how things go with this attempt. So Mercury in retrograde. Really no joke. Really no joke. It is taking place September 9th through until October 1st. There will be another retrograde season towards the end of the year, so yay. Often is the case where people tend to feel the negative energy of Mercury in retrograde more so than any other planets in retrograde. It seems to be the case for some reason, possibly because it tends to impact our communication, travel, and contracts. Those are the three main areas where it can impact you more negatively. See, here we go. So what is Mercury in retrograde? It's the energy of the planet in backwards motion, and it tends to disrupt, interrupt, or cause chaos with communication technology and contracts. This season, from September 9th to October 1st, it is more likely to impact the zodiac signs of Libra and Virgo. I am going to offer this reading for you through my Etsy shop, but in addition to the 10 questions that I am going to ask, I am also going to add an add-on that I cannot feature here, unfortunately, because it's for the collective, but the add-on to chart your birth chart to see where Mercury is transitioning for you. What house is it moving through, and possible what sign is it moving through for you? Because that may prompt for you specific energies or areas that may come up for revisit and clearing, cleansing, navigating, etc. So watch for that. All right, guys, here we go. We are going to look at 10 questions for Mercury in retrograde. Thank you again for being here. Please be sure to like and share the video. First question that we're going to ask for the collective is, what possible energies may come up or situations may come up this Mercury retrograde season? So we're going to pull 3 cards for the collective. What are the possible energies or situations that may come up for you during oh boy, retrograde, Mercury in retrograde? And the first one we have is connection. See, relationships, partnerships, contract, commitment. 100%. I love cards. I love cards. So the first thing that I get here that I want to focus on is the green crystals. That speaks to the heart space. So obviously representing partnership, and it may be challenged. They may be challenged for those who are in relationships, who are in partnerships. It doesn't necessarily mean specifically romantic, but also connections that you have with friends, family, coworkers. So definitely coming up. And when we apply it to Mercury retrograde, we're looking at past issues. What is coming up again for us in this area of partnerships and connections and commitments that needs to be cleared, that needs to be resolved? So it's obviously something that's coming back up that is either a repeat or that has been around in your partnership with someone in particular that needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. When I look at the number 29 and I break it down to its simplest form, it's number 2. So again, representing partnership, harmony, and how are we working in this space? What needs to be cleared and addressed? Contracts, be careful around contracts. When I see this card in relationship to contracts, I'm looking at marriage. So those of you who are expected to get married between September 9th to October 1st, you may have cold feet. You may have an issue come forward last minute that needs you to revisit with your partner and really clear out, are you guys really ready for commitment in this space? Things like that. So be mindful of that energy. You can't plan this when you do this, okay? We have currents of emotion, uncontrolled feelings. So yeah, it's going to be a rocky time, unfortunately, for some of you, more specifically those of you who are in relationships. Things are going to feel turbulent, rocky, uncontrolled. You're going to have emotions that are going to just really be explosive, unfortunately, is what I'm getting here. And they're all deeply rooted in the heart space. Number 7 speaks to spirituality. Why are we not connecting with Source? Or are we going to be relying upon Source and our connection to spirituality to help us through this retrograde? Or are we going to feel abandoned by our connection to spirituality? That could be coming up for some of you. Definitely uncontrolled feelings. You're going to be asked to visit, why are you so triggered? Why are your emotions being impacted at this time? And what is it about either the emotions, the feelings, the communication that will be coming up for you during Mercury retrograde to really clear and focus on? Oh, goodness me. Archangel Raguel. I love this. Justice cards, balance, justice, harmony, and solutions. So really, we are going to be asked big time, more focused this time around than probably so in other Mercury retrograde seasons of past. How are we, how do I put this? There's a lot of imbalance within connections and trying times, trying situations that keep coming up. So particularly in this area during this season, we're going to be challenged to look at harmony. How are we coming up with effective solutions? Solutions that work for both parties in the connection, not just one, but for both, okay? And then 36 broken down as a 9, that's a completion. So really why it's coming forward is so that you can master these areas and come up with a completed cycle around them. Okay? Ooh, I love those cards. I love that for the collective. Next, we're going to look at triggers. What triggers may come up for you during Mercury retrograde this time around? So we're going to get 2 cards for the collective. What triggers may come up? I love this. I will start an argument with my partner to get attention. No shit, Sherlock, right? So really, the emphasis is around communication and partnerships and triggering communication. How do you articulate with your partner what your needs are versus how they articulate to you what your needs are? It sounds like both of you are pushing buttons to trigger one another to get into arguments in order to address issues that remain unresolved. So communication, arguments will be a trigger with your partner. Next card. When I feel overwhelmed and not in control. So remember, we're dealing with the uncontrolled feelings here. When I feel overwhelmed and not in control, my behaviors become manic and compulsive. Very volatile energies, very volatile triggers coming up. This, I'm sorry to say, y'all are in connections are really going to have a difficult time this time around with Mercury retrograde. Really triggering for you will be arguments, feeling overwhelmed, not in control, manic, and explosive communication. So be very careful in these areas. Why are they coming up? So that you can master them. You really need to take a step inward and really examine how they're impacting you and you alone. Not necessarily the connection, but it starts within first. So if we're asked, you're going to be asked to look at these triggers. Why are they coming up for you, and how can you master them so that you don't continue to repeat these cycles with one another moving forward? Okay. Next question will be, this is a tough one. What shadow work may come up for you during retrograde season? Kind of there's a hesitation there in the shadow work. Insecurity. Please understand your worth, your value, your purpose here on earth. There is no need to feel small or compare yourself to others. Ooh, tough shadow work, insecurities. Because it's not only how we feel about ourselves, but it's internalizing how other people may project their own insecurities onto you. Often is the case when people put other people down. It's an expression of their own insecurity, and it's outwardly directed, versus internalizing it and understanding, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like, why do I feel small? Why do I feel compared to others? Why is this happening? So the shadow work here that you really need to overcome is the insecurity, and understand your own worth. Your worth is not determined by someone else's feelings and thoughts towards you. Your worth comes from within. So you're really going to be challenged in this area to overcome that shadow work. Next we have prejudice. What if you were categorized into a group and given attributes that were false without truly knowing who you are? Interesting. Let's read this one again. What if you were categorized into a group and given attributes that were false without truly knowing who you are? The first thing that I'm getting is, don't judge a book by its cover. So if you tend to come up with a perceived notion of someone just by judging them on first appearance or first interaction, first words, you're being asked to be mindful of this energy, because you don't like it when someone does it to you. Be mindful, you may inadvertently be doing this towards others, and it can be felt. It may not necessarily be a situation where you're expressing it or outward with it, but keep in mind, people can pick up energies, and they can pick up how you're feeling about them. So if you are in this space where you're prejudging someone, be mindful of that shadow work. Okay? Very tough energies for shadow work coming forward. This is no joke what's coming up here. It's going to be a tough one for some of us. Got to touch on this one. How might your romantic relationship be challenged during retrograde season? So, how might your romantic relationship be challenged? Oh boy. I am not surprised to see forgiving and learning. Just for the simple fact that those who are in really tough relationships, who've been in separation, who are going to be really triggered during this time, very hurtful stuff is going to be coming up. And that's for your learning lesson. Forgiveness is a big lesson to learn, and some of us are really resistant to mastering forgiveness. Okay? Forgiveness is not for anybody else, it's for you. So, as you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. I'm not going to go into great detail in this area other than everybody approaches forgiveness in a different way, and how to heal that and how to come into real forgiveness, either with self or with someone else. So the simple learning lesson here, or the simple challenge that will come up during Mercury retrograde, is forgiving and learning from it. Okay? Next, we have calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. So for those who are in separation from a soulmate, this will definitely be a hard one for you to experience during Mercury retrograde. The separation, the lack of communication. Why can't we come together and help each other overcome certain things that we're trying to clear and cleanse, to either independently or together? So there's an energy present having a hard time dealing with the separation from a soulmate. And why is that coming up for you? Is it the lack of communication? Is it the lack of resolving communication issues? Is that what's broken you apart? What's teared you apart? And how do you come together to forgive and forget, so to speak? Oh boy. That's tough. That's tough. I'm feeling the strain and the stress in the heart chakra as I'm doing this read, which for me is triggering a lot of emotion coming up, and hardship and difficulty that is likely to be expected during this retrograde. I'm getting the sense here it's not going to be easy. How are you possibly being challenged to communicate? So I'm going to get some words and interpret them on how you may be challenged to communicate during Mercury retrograde. Oh boy. Okay. So again, the question is, how might you be challenged to communicate? First card out is, right now, I don't need a lecture. I need your love. And again, it's not surprising for the energy of Mercury retrograde to have conflict around communication and how you express to one another. So what you're going to be challenged to communicate, this is for those who are in partnership and have those rocky moments. How are you challenged? You're challenged to express in a different way that you just need the love. You don't need to be lectured. You don't need to be told. You don't need to revisit that same type of communication between the two of you. What you need to master and learn about the communication is how to get across to your partner, I just need to be loved. I can hear you. I can take in what it is that you're saying without being lectured. Just show it to me in a loving, kind way. When you treat me this way, it feels like you don't respect me. Is that true? So again, touching on lectures and how we communicate with one another, how you're going to be challenged to express to someone is how you need them to talk to you like they love you, versus blame or imparting on you their own stuff. Right? We want our person to understand that you don't need to be lectured, that when in doing so you feel disrespected, right? When you treat me this way, it feels like you don't respect me. Is that true? So what you want from your partner, and what you're going to be challenged on how to communicate to your partner, is, I need you to respect me. I need you to speak to me in a way where love is expressed, versus the harshness that either has been a repeat for you or that is going to come up during Mercury retrograde. So you're going to be challenged. How do you communicate that effectively to your partner without triggering them, without placing blame on them, without them feeling like they're doing something wrong, versus that's just who they are, and they need to be shown a way on how to communicate to you in a way that helps you, that encourages you, and that encourages the relationship to be more loving and respectful. Okay, now we're going to take this into more of an internal route on how you can nourish your soul. We're going to look at how you can take care of yourself during Mercury retrograde. Those were some of the tougher questions that tend to come up, tougher energies that tend to come up during Mercury retrograde. So when that's happening, how do we learn to bring it inward and treat ourselves with self-care? So the first question we're going to is, how can I care for myself during Mercury retrograde? Well, it's ironic that we have action come up. And why I say it's ironic, because the retrograde energy is the backward motion. So it feels like you're revisiting, you're taking a step back. I need to move backwards in order to have a bigger scope of what happened, what has happened, in order to feel like I can take appropriate action. So this push and pull energy around action. It's that fork in the road. What direction do I take? And that can be a little bit confusing. So how do you take care of yourself? Step into nature. Take more walks out in the nature, be it around water, be it around forestry, whatever brings you more peace is going to help you feel grounded in earth. So when we say take action, we want to take a step backwards or take a time out in nature to ground, regroup, reconnect with self for self-care, okay? The journey to find your lost self begins with one step. So again, it's feeling lost in the energy of Mercury retrograde because of that backwards energy, that dragging down, that pulling us back, but wanting to move forward with grounded, safe, secure energy so that I feel good about myself. So spend more time in nature. Don't focus so much on where your thoughts are going. Be in the present moment, grounded and connected to source in order to have more of a space of feeling connected and relaxed to make better choices to move forward. Oh, blessings. That's a beautiful energy. Ooh. Count your blessings. A grateful heart attracts more joy, love, and prosperity. The only message that I'm getting here for you on self-care is to review and see this and to view this Mercury retrograde as a blessing. Through all the chaos and the craziness that will come up, this is for you. It's a blessing from the universe for you to ignite and call back in more of a grateful heart of joy, love, and prosperity. There is a blessing to be seen and to be had in all of this crazy energy that is going to be coming forward. We're going to look at how should you nourish your body. I'm going to tap into my Soul Food Oracle, and although this deck expresses mixed emotions through food, I'm going to review the situation or the cards as an opportunity to present to you a visual of maybe where your body needs nourishment during Mercury in retrograde. This deck is still available in my Etsy shop if you're interested as well. Okay, so 2 cards. Oh, I love this. Right after we get blessings, we get cake. It's so funny. I celebrate cake representing celebration. I am grateful for the memories. Okay, so again, it's asking your heart space to, although there tends to be a lot or an abundance of negative energy around Mercury in retrograde, They want you to see that this is a blessing, that this is on your path for a specific reason and only for your greatest good. It may not feel like it while it's happening, but celebrate your achievements as you move through and navigate the tough energies of Mercury in retrograde. You may need and you may rely on cake as being a comfort food to protect the heart, to alleviate stress. So if you tend to turn to cake when you're stressed out, this is going to be one of your vices that you're turning to, although it can be viewed as not the best form of nourishment for your soul. What it is saying is, I'm looking for comfort around my soul. So look for maybe either a healthier alternative, but cake is coming up as one of those things that you turn to as a force, as a source of comfort, okay? Coupled by bacon. Salty, give me room to vent. Well, how appropriate for Mercury retrograde. So what it is saying is, for your body to feel nourished and to feel like you're comforting it or giving it a source of nourishment, you need to vent this Mercury retrograde. You need to get out all your salty energy and get on out there with it, which is good. It's a cleansing opportunity. You may also be one that turns to bacon for a source of comfort food, for a source of comfort around the heart space as well, right? So I like bacon. I will admit I do like bacon. I don't do it very often, but when I do, my soul tends to feel a little bit better for some reason. Maybe it's the salt. Maybe it's the salt intake. Maybe you need to be more mindful this Mercury retrograde about salt. Okay? Next, we are going to ask, how is your soul being activated during this retrograde? And again, I'm using my Soul Activation Oracle. That's still available for purchase in the Etsy shop. It happens to be one of the more popular decks in my collection. So I'm happy about that. It was my first deck. How is your soul being activated by this retrograde? So we have the root chakra, abundance. This is for those who are feeling a real fear around finances and security. So your soul is being activated in the root chakra to recognize that although this is a very difficult time for all of us during changes, you know, we're all experiencing crazy inflation, etc., things like that. There is fear about our security, our financial security, more specifically. So this Mercury retrograde, again, touching on the energy of don't make big purchases or enter into contracts around Mercury retrograde. So this is definitely going to be an issue that comes forward for you, where your soul is being guided to activate the energy of abundance. It may be crazy, it may be chaotic, it may be unstable, but you are to recognize that abundance comes in many forms, not just the financial situation or material items, okay? You are being activated to stay in the energy of abundance. And then we have clarity, third eye chakra. Wow. That's quite interesting to see, because during Mercury retrograde, we can feel like there is a fog between us and source, and we're not connected because of the clouded communication. So your soul is going to be activated in the third eye chakra, where you can activate that space to gain clarity, because there's so much confusion and chaos that comes up around this time period, and it can cloud our judgment. So your body is being activated in this time period to cleanse the third eye and really activate the space of clarity for you. Okay? Um, because we can tend to feel defeated or uninspired or just downright knocked down, we're going to ask, how are you guided to stay inspired when you're hit with these difficult energies? It can be a really hard thing to do, to stay inspired even when something, oh boy, is being challenged and hit with a difficult time. How do you stay inspired? Well, I'm not surprised to see two heart space cards, but also the forgiveness message. So we have Rhodonite. Find a way to forgive. So how are you guided to stay inspired? Open up that heart space. You're really going to be cracked in that heart space. That was the very first message that came out. So you may be working with Emerald, Rhodonite during this time period. This prompts me to say and put in a plug. I just created a gemstone bracelet line, and I'm wearing some of them today. No pun intended here. Look, green agate for our Chinese green agate for heart space. This line is now available through my Etsy shop, and I do have a line with Rhodonite. So we're going to be inspired to keep that heart space open, even when those moments come about where we want to close that heart space. We want to be cut off and isolated from any harsh energies, only because it's very difficult. And what you're guided to do is actually push through it. Be inspired to keep that space open so that you can cleanse this area, the heart space. Forgiveness. Like I said, forgiveness is not about anybody else. It's for you. Okay? Forgiveness, here's an affirmation for you. Forgiveness starts with me. Today I choose one person, either yourself or another, and start moving towards forgiveness. So to stay inspired during these difficult energies, you're really going to be asked to be in the heart space and in the area of forgiveness, the energy of forgiveness. That's probably going to be one of the big mastering moments for you during Mercury retrograde. And then this, I've never seen this stone, but it's a beautiful one. I am really, I tend to work with obsidian, but I've never seen rainbow obsidian. Look how beautiful that is. It's another heart message. Heal your heart. So to stay inspired, again, they need to stay. You really need to stay in the heart space. Remember loving energy, projecting loving energy. What you give will eventually come back to you, the law of karma. So be mindful of either how you're treating people or how people are treating you. You want to welcome loving energy. Stay in the love vibration. I've not come across this stone before, so what I'm going to do is read to you how it's activating you to stay inspired. You are strong and resilient, and you are capable of working through the deepest of human emotion. The heart is both the most fragile and most powerful element of our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Trust that no matter how exposed or pained you feel, you have the power to recover and heal. Heal from the loss of a loved one, a relationship, or even a job. Whether the event happened recently or long ago, a variety of emotions may surface at any time as part of the grieving process. It's a beautiful message for you to encourage you to continue to push through the hard heart space energy that you are going to be experiencing through Mercury retrograde. Stay inspired, knowing that you can overcome, that you have the resilience to forgive and to heal. That's a beautiful, beautiful stone. Beautiful, beautiful. The affirmation that goes with that is to say, to feel is to heal. Today, give yourself permission to feel whatever emotions come up. Let them go and cry if you need to, so that you can create space to heal. So you're going to be inspired to be in the energy of healing and forgiving. Very, very tough and emotionally challenging energies to come up for, or to master through Mercury in retrograde. I'm just turning back to the 3 cards that we opened with. Partnership, contract, commitment, uncontrolled feelings, justice, harmony, and solutions. Wow. Very, very tough energies. But let's close the reading with, what energies can you anticipate mastering once you've come out of retrograde season? So we'll get 3 cards for the collective. What energies can you anticipate mastering once you've come out of a retrograde? Can't plan this. Broken heart, definitely, it's coming to a close. So really, and this is not a surprise to see in this mastering energy, is that you are going to overcome the hardship that you are going to be facing during retrograde. This could either be a separation for some, grieving the loss of a relationship. This could be healing heart from a previous relationship, a previous breakup that's, occurred a while ago, and the need and the want to have communication from that person to resolve issues. You're going to overcome that. And there was another message there, but it's gone for some reason. So those are cycles coming into completion, okay? That's what you're going to master, is healing the broken heart. Man holding a coin. And cornucopia. These are messages around abundance, okay? Let's look at the cornucopia first, because a man holding a coin is kind of tripping me up a little bit. So not surprised to see this, because we had a message here about abundance. Staying in that energy, grounding the root chakra. You're going to master and overcome your fears around security and abundance, finances, and material items. Those are just illusions that are coming up that have been in your past before. It could have been an issue that you've experienced earlier in the year, another lifetime ago. You're mastering and clearing out the energy of lack. You are going to experience more abundance and rid yourself of that scarcity mentality, okay? I like the harvest message in here too, in imagery, because it comes around, for Canada anyway, the holiday of Thanksgiving. And this retrograde ends right before we welcome Thanksgiving. So what this tells me is that it's a time of transformation, time to gather with people, with loved ones, and celebrate. I really like that. So why is man with a coin tripping me up here? What are we going to master here? So unfortunately, I'm going to refer to the book. Yeah, it's money. It's connection with money, health, and values. So we're going to overcome those again, that solar plexus energy and root energy of our finances. Whatever feelings of insecurity or lack around finances is going to be mastered and overcome. Specifically, it could be for males. Okay. Going to be in a much more secure situation going forward. I like that. but also taking control of our own planning. I mean, how do we overcome financial hardship? It's asking you to plan around that. Plan for a rainy day. Come up with solutions around budgeting. So, in doing that, you determine your destiny. You change the outcome. You change the course of that. Okay. Great messages to receive on what you're going to be mastering and how you're going to come out of this. I like that. Lots of abundance and healing. Healing is very important. So overcoming that grief, hardship, broken connections, we're going to come out of that energy. We're going to learn so much through the retrograde that we're going to master how to overcome those feelings and maybe not be stuck in them so long. Yeah, so that's been a interesting read for the collective around Mercury in retrograde. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought. And again, if you're interested, I will make this reading available for purchase through my Etsy shop. And again, that's the only way to book a reading with me is through Etsy. I will also add on, which I couldn't do for the collective here, is the chart information as to where Mercury is charting in your birth chart. Again, thank you so much. Happy Mercury in retrograde. I wish you nothing but the best for it. It'll be a tough time, as we can see through the cards, as the cards are revealing for us, but I have all the faith and confidence in you to overcome this and come through this Mercury retrograde season a stronger, healed individual and who's walking into some great abundance. Take care, friends. See you later. Bye-bye.